Hello, welcome to Gus McDoll Strategy and Tactics, and thank you to our subscribers. In this series, we play through each of the battles in the American Grand Campaign in Close Combat 4, the Battle of the Bulge. We use historical World War II US Army doctrine to plan and conduct each battle. We start on the strategic map. It is 0800 hours on December 18, 1944, and the weather is foggy. Artillery and combat aviation have been assigned to support Losheim and Wiltz. In the last episode, the after-action review for Turn 4, American forces held the combat outposts against German attack. But the Germans crossed the Meuse at Hofferlise. The next battle is at Baugnez between the US 14th Cavalry Group and the German Kampfgruppe Peiper from 1st Panzer Division. Commander, you must hold this supply depot. Hold the high ground near the centre of the town and occupy the tallest building for the best lines of fire. On the US side is an American cavalry battle group from the 14th Cavalry Group under command of Colonel Devane. It moves very fast and reserves are full. The company consists of 3 platoons. First platoon is mostly armoured cavalry, M8 Greyhounds and M20s. Second platoon is mostly recon scouts. And third platoon includes 2 anti-tank guns and 2 light tanks. The original squads retain their names and statistics. Let's rename the new squads off-camera for ease of reference. Now, let's review each of the squads. 1-1 is Bayer's 1st Platoon Headquarters Command Half-Track. 2-1 is Norman's 2nd Platoon Headquarters. 3-1 is Madig's 3rd Platoon Headquarters. 2-5 is a recon squad. 2-4 is a recon squad. 1-2 is Herman's M8 Greyhound 37mm. 1-5 is an M20 with a heavy machine gun. 1-4 is Samson's M20 with a heavy machine gun. 2-3 is an M9 bazooka team. 1-3 is an M8 Greyhound 37mm. 2-2 is a recon squad. 3-2 is a 3-inch anti-tank gun. 3-3 is a 57mm anti-tank gun. 3-4 is a Stuart light tank with a 37mm gun. 3-5 is also a Stuart light tank with a 37mm gun. Next, let's look at the map and conduct a commander's estimate of the situation. Our mission remains to delay the hostile column from Kampfgruppe Peiper in order to secure the critical routes through Baugnez. Baugnez is a tiny village consisting of a handful of buildings at a 5-ways crossroads. Roads lead east to Simmerath, southeast to Udenbreath, south to Munchau, southwest to Sandvit, and west to Stavelot. The village is surrounded by open fields enclosed with wooden fences with small woods and copses dotted around. There is high ground to the east, northeast, northwest, and southwest. In each case, a bare low hill. Observation and fields of fire are largely unobstructed across the open fields, with long sight lines down the roads. There is only very limited cover for defenders, mostly the village buildings. The small copses of trees offer some concealment, but little cover. The area is open, with no significant obstacles to movement. The high ground to the east and northwest is key terrain, as it would offer an attacker a marked advantage in being able to dominate the area by fire. For the defender, the village buildings are key terrain, as they offer cover and concealment. An attacker from the east has 2 avenues of approach: directly to the southwest and indirectly to the northwest. 14th Cavalry Group has previously fought and defeated the German Kampfgruppe Peiper from 1st Panzer Division. We can expect them to have Panther and Panzer IV tanks, half-tracks, and Panzer Grenadier. The Panzers are their critical capability. As in the last battle at Baugnez, the crossroads remain the obvious objective. The Germans are again coming from Simerath, so their likely axis of attack is from the east. They are hemmed in and channeled by the high ground. As such, it is likely the Panzers will look to fire across open fields to exploit their range. The half-tracks will use the main road. Infantry will move between the areas of vegetation. And the Germans may have fire support behind the large copse of trees. The area between the village and the Y junction remains the optimal killing zone. Alternatively, the Germans could set up a Panzer support by fire position on the high ground to the northeast. From there, they could use fire to clear the high ground to the east and northwest, and suppress defenders in the village. Meanwhile, infantry, supported by half-tracks, could make a long right hook around to the northwest, using the high ground and vegetation for cover and concealment in the approach. They could move into a forming up point on the reverse slope of the high ground to the northwest. They could then attack the village from the northwest, taking the defenders in the flank and nullifying any cover provided by the village buildings. The key risk with this approach is the two-storey building to the west, which looks into the likely forming up point. The forming up point and reverse slope would be the optimal killing zone. The first option is for the Americans to occupy a defensive position in the woods to the northwest, 2nd Platoon to the north, and 1st Platoon's vehicles to the south. Both platoons would have mutually supporting fires against any advance from the east. This would form a hard shoulder, preventing German infantry from conducting a right hook attack. The German Panzers would then likely advance to occupy the village. The Panzers would be engaged by the US tanks and anti-tank guns placed behind cover at the two-storey building to the west and to the south-southwest at Mathenet's farm. Once the Panzers were dealt with, 1st and 2nd Platoons would then form up and counterattack from the northwest, catching the Germans in the flank. The tanks of 3rd Platoon would be the reserve. The second option is for the Americans to set up a defensive position in the village itself, much like the first battle at Baugnez. 1st and 2nd Platoons would occupy the same space, but with 1st Platoon vehicles behind the buildings and 2nd Platoon infantry inside them. 3rd Platoon would occupy positions off to the right and fire into the flank of any German vehicles advancing through the killing zone. The anti-tank guns would be hidden in the trees to the south. 1st and 2nd Platoon in the village would be the anvil, and 3rd Platoon the hammer. A single M20 and recon team would cover the possible German forming up point to the northwest, and another M20 and recon team would be in reserve at Mathenet's farm. This time, however, the tanks would form a second reserve to the rear behind the trees. I will trigger them north to counterattack the enemy, or south to reinforce the village. I have made my decision and have placed the platoons and squads in position. And so we begin.
Nailed it! Sergeant!
Sonderkraftfahrzeug destroyed.
Nailed it!
Panzer IV destroyed.
Feldwebel!
Another tank hit. German infantry rushed the village.
Geht in Deckung!
Hermann is seriously injured. And his Greyhound immobilized. As is the Sturmgeschütz. The Sturmgeschütz is destroyed. The Sonderkraftfahrzeug 251-16 Flammenwerfer is destroyed.
Feldwebel! Feldwebel!
Panzer IV destroyed. The Befehlspanzer V moves up. The German commander is trying to get a grip on the situation, as his command crumbles around him. The lead Panzer IV immobilized.
Geht in Deckung!
Flammenwerfer squad destroyed. Panzer IV destroyed. German infantry take the outskirts of Baugnez. And press on. But are cut down. Their comrades pinned.
Unter Beschuss!
The platoon's anti-tank guns on the right flank are doing excellent work.
Nailed him!
Plenty more German infantry. Advancing in the open. Straight into the killing zone.
Feldwebel!
Hermann's Greyhound opens up. German mortar fire targets 2nd Platoon headquarters. Hermann's Greyhound is destroyed.
Feldwebel!
The German infantry in the killing zone take heavy casualties. But the Befehlspanzer remains out of the line of fire.
Geht in Deckung! Liegt down!
The last of Hermann's crew are killed. Sergeant Norman is killed. A German machine gun in the woods to the northeast is suppressing 2nd Platoon headquarters.
spotted. Enemy spotted.
The Queen takes a shot at the Befehlspanzer.
Keep your head
Wir geben auf!
And knocks out the Befehlspanzer. The German infantry assault is blunted. They have had enough. Total American victory. The battle ended because the Germans' force morale got too low and they were forced to retreat off the map. The Americans gained control of the map and the German battle group was forced to disband. The Americans won the battle because they control a greater number of crucial victory locations than the Germans. The Americans took 4 killed, 5 wounded and 1 Greyhound destroyed. Lighter casualties than last time. The Germans took 20 killed, 13 wounded, 1 prisoner, 5 tanks destroyed and 2 half-tracks destroyed. And another company from Kampfgruppe Peiper forced to disband. How many are left? Let's examine the American squads. Hermann is awarded the Bronze Star to go with his Combat Infantryman's badge, but at the cost of his vehicle and crew, with Henderson and Yoda dead. The remainder of 1st Platoon played no active part in the battle. 2nd Platoon headquarters was destroyed, with Norman and Renee remaining in Baugnez forever, and the rest evacuated rearwards to a field hospital. Sergeant Sterling is awarded the Combat Infantryman's badge for his part in the defence of the village. McQueen knocks out a Befehlspanzer 5, the enemy company commander's vehicle, and is awarded the Bronze Star. Corporal Rock knocked out a tank and is awarded the Bronze Star. He will soon be promoted to Sergeant Rock. Gunner Roy also knocks out a tank and is awarded the Combat Infantryman's badge. Sergeant Duke, on the 2nd Anti-Tank Gun, shares credit with Powers for a tank kill and is awarded the Combat Infantryman's badge. Powers also claims a half-track kill, as does Keith. The Stuart tanks in reserve played no part in the battle. So far, the campaign remains a major American victory. The Grand Campaign has 14 days remaining. Your defence of the Ardennes is progressing better than your historical counterparts. Over the campaign, cumulative American losses are 142 killed in action, 136 wounded in action, 5 tanks, 2 vehicles, and 10 guns. Cumulative German losses are 301 killed, 250 wounded, 37 tanks, and 24 armoured vehicles. So, what did we learn? Once again, the importance of selecting a good flanking position for the anti-tank guns. This battle really belonged to the anti-tank guns of 3rd Platoon. Both guns were concealed in the woods on the right flank and concentrated their fire into the killing zone. Only 4 squads from 1st and 2nd Platoons played a part in the battle, and 2 of these were destroyed, including Hermann's Greyhound and 2nd Platoon headquarters. McQueen's bazooka knocked out a Befehlspanzer, and Sergeant Sterling's recon squad blunted the German infantry attack. But the anti-tank guns knocked out 4 German tanks and 2 half-tracks without loss, as well as engaging infantry at long range. The vehicles were the centre of gravity of the German armoured company. Defeating them won the battle. At no point did the Americans commit their entire strength, and the Americans did not even have time to counterattack before the defeated Germans fled the battle. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and donate. And stay tuned for the next episode.